morning, guys. Today I'll be showing you the power of retrobriting. And I'll be restoring half of this old compact keyboard. Yes, half. So you guys can see a before and after very easily. And if you guys enjoy this, please leave a like and subscribe. And check out me on Instagram. Now I've gotten all 10 of the screws out that were on the outside. It looks like we got a small little motherboard up here in the corner. Well, let's take off the rest of these screws and see what we got underneath. Well, looks like we got a good old membrane keyboard. Everyone loves membrane keyboards. A nice mushy feel when you press down a key. What's not to love? Well, here are those rubber things we saw up top. These things will need a bath. Make sure to get those things nice and clean. Well, here's the main rubber thing. This will also definitely need a bath. We'll make sure we get this clean as well. My goodness, that's a lot of keys. This is going to take a long time. Good thing we're only doing half of these. Well, they seem to work. That's a good sign. That's really yellow. Well, we'll fix that later. At least half anyway. Now, let's get some aluminum foil on half of this thing, so only half gets retrobrated. Because remember, we're trying to get a side-by-side comparison so we can easily see what happens. Let's finally get to retrobriting. I'm going to use this technique I found on the 8-Bit Guy's channel, but his video is pretty old. His link's in the video description. I'll be using this Grimm stuff I got at my local Sally's Beauty Supplies. And this stuff's over a year old, so it seems to keep for a while. Now, you want to get some saran wrap, or clear plastic wrap as the Dollar General calls it. Then you want to spend forever trying to get it apart because it's saran wrap. Let's start with this little tiny piece. Now you want to make sure you get enough here so you can wrap it the whole way around. You don't want any holes, or your cream will leak out and make a large mess. Now, if you have a box that isn't stupid like this one, it hopefully is easy to cut. Yep, looks like this blade's doing its job just fine. And we have a nice ball we gotta untangle. But that shouldn't be too difficult. Then you want to make sure it's in the center of the camera and not off to the edge, because why wouldn't you? And you want to pour your cream right there out into the middle. Then you want to stick the item in and squish it down. Make sure it gets all over it so it gets an even coat. If it's uneven, you may end up with swirls, which you do not want. This is a restoration. You don't want swirls in it. And if you do end up with swirls, you will have to start over and try again. If you keep ending up with it, you may have to look into other options. Now we make sure the cream is evenly spread out around the item, making sure every piece has a little bit of cream on it. Now it's time for the keyboard. I got this super large piece of saran wrap. Let's pour some cream on it. Now let's plop the keyboard down, making sure we get it nicely spread out. I'd recommend using a paintbrush for this to spread it out much more evenly. Now we want to fold it close and make sure it seals up nicely. And it looks good. Time to set these out in the sun. Now I put them on the roof where I am, because that seems to get the best sun. Just make sure you rotate them every 30 minutes, so they're always being hit by the sun. And it looks like this piece is done after about an hour and a half of being outside. We're just gonna remove this and dispose of it. And then we're gonna wash this. And yeah, that looks good, but let's take off all this stuff, and yeah, that looks pretty good. Now, here's the keyboard after about an hour and a half. As you can clearly see, it's still yellow in some spots, so this will be going back out. But I still want to replace the cream and see what it looks like, so let's dive in. So after cleaning it off, we can still see that it's still yellowed over here in this corner. There you go, now you can see it. But up top it's looking a lot better. It's almost done. That match is almost perfect. Now it's time to painstakingly clean every single one of these keys with a magic eraser. This is gonna take a long time, which is why it's sped up at 200% and over 90% of it's cut off. Oh, while you're watching this, let's talk a little bit about the history of retrobriting and yellowing plastics. Yellowing plastic doesn't just occur to old stuff. New stuff. I've even seen brand new stuff in stores yellowed. The method of retrobriting was first discovered in 2007 in a German retro computing forum. A lot of people seem to talk about how long does retrobriting last? Is it permanent? Is it a permanent fix? Well, in my cases, no. I retrobrited a Sega Dreamcast over a year ago, and it's starting to get yellow again, so I'm gonna have to retrobrite it again. So it is not a permanent fix, sadly. And it's done! Look at how yellow that originally was, beside that.
Holy
That's an amazing
shit.
difference.
I forgot how yellow it was.
Let's get this tape off. And the big reveal. And look at that yellow line. Let me get these stupid little spaces out of here. That I'm pretty sure did nothing. But look at that yellow line. Let me clean this up and let's get the keys on. Who's ready for 15 minutes of putting keys on? I'm not. We're gonna jump ahead. And through the magic of video editing, I still had to put all those keys in by hand. That was a pain. Remind me not to restore keyboards. But no, it was really fun. So as you can see here, this just an amazing difference between the two colors. And that's the power of retrobriting. Just look at that. It's amazing. Now it's time to assemble it. Let's get started. Well, time to plug the cord back in that I cleaned off camera with a magic eraser. And this is where I realize I don't remember how this plugged in. Yeah, I totally didn't have to go back and look at the video to figure out how in the world this plugged in. Well, the keyboard's back together, and I totally didn't blow the computer because I plugged the wire back in wrong, and it works! That's amazing. Just look at that. Beautiful. Now, if you guys enjoyed this tutorial on how to retrobrite, please leave a like and subscribe to PewDiePie.